I've got a lower body stretch for you today, which is going to be sort of ideal for you to do post-training if your legs are a bit stiff or if you experience any kind of general stiffness through the lower body at all. Okay, so we're going to start in plank position. So I want you with your hands directly underneath your shoulders, and you're going to float the elbow creases slightly forward, so you're really pressing your shoulder blades back down into your upper back to keep you nice and strong, so you're actually pushing away from the mat. From there, come into your full plank position, and I want you to press back into a downward facing dog. So you're pressing the sternum towards the floor, your heels towards the ground, and then if you wish, you can add some movement. So what I'm doing is lifting one heel at a time and pressing the other fairly firmly down towards the floor. So I really feel a stretch going on through my calves. Okay, when I'm happy, I've had enough movement there, I'm just going to press back, really pressing my sternum towards the floor, letting my heels relax down towards the floor, and feeling all that stretch through the backs of my hamstrings. It's actually feeding into my glutes. From there, I'm going to press forward in a plank position, and I'm going to take it back. I'm going to press it forward, and again I'm going to take it back. This time again I'm going to settle into that position. I'm going to lift my right leg, bend the knee, and I'm going to step that through into a low lunge position. So I'm actually going to place the back knee down on the floor, flatten out the foot. I'm going to stretch that up towards the ceiling. Release the arms, stretch it towards the ceiling. So what I'm looking for here is your hips to be level. You may feel the hip that's stretching with the leg that extended out to the back. It's actually pulling you backwards slightly. Now I want you to pull your hips so they're both forward like headlights. So you stretch and release. Okay, a couple times here, stretch and release. One more, stretch and release. And I'm going to place both hands on the floor, and I'm going to press back into a half split position, and then back into my hip flexor and reach up. I'm going to ground my hands, and again you want to make sure both hips are level. So what I'm actually doing is stretching through the front, placing my hands and bring that to my hamstring stretch. And I'm going to settle into this hamstring stretch. So again I'm leveling off both hips, in effect pushing this one forward, and I'm pulling this one back towards me. I'm trying to get my chest as close as I can to my knee. Don't force anything, just go with how you're feeling today. Big deep breaths and release. So I'm coming back into my lunge position, and I'm going to pick it back up into my plank, and again from there into my downward facing dog. And from there I'm going to pick up the left leg, bend the knee, and step through into my low lunge. I'm going to anchor that down to the floor, and again I'm going to press forward, making sure my hips are level, and down. Pressing up, really starting to feel the stretch coming through this hip, stretching it up and down. Last one, stretching it up, bring it down. From there I'm going to plant both hands on the floor, press back into my half split, leveling off the hips, coming forward, back into my hip flexor stretch, big stretch up, and again, hands to the floor, pressing back into my half split. I'm going to do this one more time. Reach up, big deep breaths, bring it down, back into your half split. I'm going to settle here for a minute, and I'm going to make sure both hips are level, pulling this hip crease back, this one slightly forward. I'm just easing my chest towards my knee. And big deep breaths, pulling that toe forward if I can. And release. I'm going to bring it back into my plank position, and from there into my downward facing dog, really pressing the heels down this time for that lovely stretch through the hamstrings, and release down. From there I'm going to bring it down onto my knees, swing it round onto my butt. Okay, so now I'm seated on the floor. I'm going to extend both legs. I'm I'm going to lift up through the chest. I'm going to bring my chest forward towards my knees. So I'm definitely pressing forward rather than just collapsing through the spine. Press forward and you'll feel that all the way down the backs of your hamstrings. Take a few big deep breaths here. And release. From there, you're going to bring one heel in towards your groin, lift up, and again, take it down to that extended leg. And big deep breaths. Just keep easing your chest forwards towards your knee, making sure you're not collapsing through the back. Now I'm going to release that. I'm going to bring this knee up. I'm going to cross that knee over the other knee. I'm going to take my opposite arm. This is an opportunity for really to tie yourself into a pretzel. And from there, I'm going to take the other arm, reach behind, and spinal twist. And release. From there, I'm just going to let this knee gently fall across as I reach between the gap between my thighs, and I'm just going to ease this knee up towards me and press my chest up towards the ceiling, and then I'm going to raise that foot if you want to get it that extra inch. Now you should feel this big deep release through your hip. Again, hold it for a couple of minutes, however you feel you need to. If you need to pause the video, hold these for a little longer, then please feel free to do that, depending on how tight you are. And I'm going to release that. I'm going to repeat it on the other side. So I'm going to extend the other leg, bring the other heel in towards the groin. Again, lift up. And I'm going to lean down the straight leg, pulling my toes towards me and bringing my chest forward towards my knee. Really signal these muscles to relax, and I'll give you that tiny bit more. That's where your breathing comes in. And release that. So I'm going to lift this knee, and I'm going to cross one knee over the other, opposite arm, and I'm going to hug that round. What I'm trying to do is cross this knee, across the centre line of the body, so I can feel a stretch starting through the hip and coming up the side of my thigh. From there, I'm going to take it into my spinal twist. A couple of breaths here, and then I'm just going to let this knee fall down to the side. If this is enough of a stretch for you, that's absolutely fine. If you want to deepen that a little bit more, reach through the gap between your thighs, bring that knee up towards you, and if you want to get that extra notch, just lift that toe, really press in your chest forward. So you want forward and up rather than arching through the back. That'll really let that hip start to open up for you. And release that. Okay, last stretch here. I want you to make a diamond shape out in front of you. Rather than bring those heels in, I'm going to want you to have that as far away as you can without your feet separating. I want you to lift up so the chest is coming forward and just press your hands away. Just work with the body, see how far you can get down today, and you'll feel a stretch starting to happen through the lower back and the top of your glutes. Again, depending on where you are today. Just hold that big deep breath. And release. Okay, I hope this helps ease any tightness you have in your lower legs. Let me know how you get on.